Hey YouTube, it's Matt here with The Purpose Right. Today I wanted to do a quick tool review on a drywall sander by the WEN Corporation, W-E-N. This is a WEN 6369 variable speed drywall sander. Has your head on there that has the motor at the head, so it's directly connected to where your Velcro drywall sanding discs go. It hooks to a vacuum all the way at the end here, so you can hook it to your shop vac so that you can keep your dust down to a minimum. I hooked mine to a 14-gallon rigid drywall vac, one that has the bags that you can put inside to keep the fine dust down, otherwise it packs around your filter so tight. But this does not come with an adapter. You need to get an adapter to adapt it because it doesn't fit. I guess the Chinese use different size vacuum tubes, because I have 3 different shop vacs. It didn't fit any of them. So I had a Rigid sells a adapter. It was $9 at Home Depot for the adapter that fit it. I cut one of the notches off of it so it would suck faster and better and draw more air through it. It has an accordion hose on here that's kind of on the weak side. The price on this one is $122.30, but the compatible one to this is a Porter Cable brand, which is more commercial grade, and this starts at like $439 on Amazon and up. This one, like I said, was $122.30. The sanding disc, you get a value pack that has assorted ones in there for like $11 more on Amazon. Like I said, this is variable speed, so it has an on, and then it has a rheostat to adjust how fast you want it to go. It's pretty good. The only drawback to this is it's kind of heavy. I read some reviews on it, and it's heavy if you are doing a lot of ceiling work. If you're doing the walls, it's not that big a deal. Now, the job that I had to use was sanding off drywall compound in an 11.5 by 22 foot or 18.5 wide by 22 foot long room, and it had this drag troweled drywall finish on there, which was like, in some areas, it was over 3/8 of an inch thick. So I was not just sanding tape joints, I was actually sanding drywall compound off. Not popcorn, you can scrape that, but this stuff was thick, hard drywall compound, and it did the job. It actually kind of clogged up because I was sanding so much compound off at one time. My vacuum couldn't keep up with it. But when I did skim coated some walls, it was virtually no dust in the house whatsoever. So it's a pretty good product, especially for the cost of this one. If I was doing more commercial work and was doing it on a daily basis, I would probably opt for the Porter Cable one, which the motor's not at the top, it's down by the bottom. So you're holding it down here and you're not holding all the weight overhead. But like I said, it's like 45 minutes is all I could do, and I was wore out from holding this up. The whole unit's about 10 pounds, but most of the weight is at the end that you're holding up. Like if you're doing walls, it's not as big a deal, but overhead, kind of tough. The thing that I liked about it is the bristles around the side tend to just let the air filter through. And like I said, when I did skim coated walls, there was virtually no dust in the house. If you're living in the house that you're trying to remodel, or you're a remodeler and trying to do something in the house that people are living in, this is worth its weight in gold to keep the dust down in the house. In Luke 14:28, it says, "For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not sit down and calculate the cost?" I had to sit down and calculate the cost on, was it worth the $125 I spent on this, plus the extra sanding disc, in order to keep the dust down in the house which I was living in when I was remodeling the room, versus making a mess everywhere. It was definitely worth the cost. But I would tend to think if I was doing this on a regular basis and was using it daily, I would probably opt for the Porter Cable. I've seen the Porter Cables in hand and held them, and I didn't use them on the actual job, but I talked to the drywall guys that do the drywall work, and they said it's handier than a pocket on the shirt. They absolutely love it, and they've had theirs for 6 months, no problems whatsoever. I did find out though that when the accordion hose started getting some little tiny pinholes in it, but like I said, the knockdown, drag, trowel texture that I was doing was actually, it skinned my knuckles every time I got near it. I mean, this stuff was rough. I don't know, I've had like 15 drywall guys come into my house, and none of them said, they all looked at it and said, we don't know how they did it. It was just a very unusual texture job on the ceiling of my own home. So if you have a remodel job to do, or you're just a part-time contractor that does minimal drywall work, I would say that this is the tool for you. It does break down. The sides open up on it, so it breaks in half. It shortens up. It's pretty compact if you're needing to store it. But if you were doing it more like on a daily basis, I would probably opt for the Porter Cable one. It's a little heavier duty, and believe it or not, it's actually a little lighter. And if you just needed to do it, I also calculated the cost in it, that Home Depot actually rents the Porter Cable one for about $75 a day. But it was going to take me 3 or 4 days, so it was worth the cost just to purchase my own. So I'm going to have this kicking around the house, or anytime I need to do drywall repairs to keep the dust down in my house. So for me, I calculated the cost, and it was worth it. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs up for WEN. It's a WEN model 6369. You can get it on Amazon, like I said, $122.30, and the sanding disc variety pack was like $11, $12. It does come with like 6 or 8 pads itself, so it does come with some, but I didn't know how many I was going to go through on my job. But the Porter Cable starts at $429 and up. So as far as I'm concerned, this tool is worth its weight in gold. I considered the cost. So here at the Purpose Right, like as always, we love you and Jesus loves you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You guys have a great day. Goodbye.